Thank you so much for joining us, Gillian. This is so exciting to have you be part of this conversation where we are just empowering women. It is Women's Month, and we are excited to have you on board. This is Gillian Benson, Advocate Gillian Benson. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be part of this initiative. Women's Month every year is a big importance in my life, and it reminds me how much women contribute to our society. So thank you for having me.
Certainly is a pleasure. And we appreciate you honoring the invite.
Thank you.
So, Gillian, I'm just going to go straight into the conversation. I mean, you are focused on the character of a woman belonging. Please, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. So I have been practicing as an advocate for 25 years now. I'm with the Johannesburg Bar, and I do a lot of company law, but I also do a lot of public law, which is fed by the fact that I am a woman. I'm a single mum of 3 boys, and I also care for my mum. So I've been doing this hustle for 9 years now as a single mum.
Wow. And you're also a mum to the mum.
I am also a mum to the mum.
Because it does get to that point, eh?
Yeah.
So tell us, as a working single mom, right? What does an ordinary day require from you that people in your network and in your industry never get to see?
I think a lot of people. Well, first of all, I never have an ordinary day.
Every day is different.
Yeah. My days are always full of chaos, but my ordinary day, which I think a lot of people don't appreciate, doing the nature of the work that I do, and with the responsibilities that I have as a single parent, my day starts at about 3 o'clock every day, and I've had to learn how to adjust and adapt to doing what I have to do and still be the best that I can at my job. So I get up at 3 when it's quiet. At that point, I don't have people phoning and emailing and mom, you know. So I get to do my best thinking at that time of the day. And then, of course, it's the school run, which I hate. Especially living in Fourways, I've got to do the
Oh my gosh,
drive
the traffic!
hustle.
Oh!
And then I go back and I will obviously either be in court or drafting court papers all day. But there's always meetings. So whether you're in court or whether you're in meetings all day, it takes up a lot of your administrative time.
Yeah.
I also take a lot of time off to act as an acting judge in the High Court.
What?
So that's very time consuming. And
Sure.
then you've got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
So then it's obviously dinner time. And then once the little guy's back in bed, it's back to work. And I only go to bed at about 10 o'clock. So my every day, whether it's a Saturday or a Tuesday, are generally the same bar for the school run.
It's a full day.
It is. It's long hours.
Full week.
A full week.
Sure. Where do you get the strength for it?
I make sure that I am working for the next holiday.
Like any other mom does, eh?
I've just got to take breaks every now and again, because otherwise, you know, if I'm not okay, no one else is.
I love that. I love that. So how do you then handle the balancing act? You know, do you struggle with the just balancing work and motherhood? So how do you carry the responsibilities, especially because you are doing the motherhood thing alone?
Yes.
How do you create stability?
So at the beginning, I didn't know how to do that, and I really struggled.
Yeah.
But then, you know, at first, while the divorce was ongoing, I still had my ex-husband here to do every alternate weekend and Wednesdays. Which you come to appreciate as a single mom, despite the fact that you hated that idea at the beginning.
Yeah.
But he has moved back to Scotland, so I'm all on my own. But you have to find and adapt, a way to adapt. So what I do is I take long walks every morning. It keeps me fit, it's exercise. It's that 10 minutes to 20 minutes in the sunshine, which is a great way to start off your positivity, no matter how bad you feel or negative you may feel commencing your day. And I make sure that I take frequent breaks. I spend as much time with my friends as I can. Again, something I've had to learn to do without feeling guilty about. Because as a mum, you feel like you've just got to be there for everybody else. And being a lawyer, your clients expect you to be there 24 hours a day.
Sure.
At all times.
Yeah.
You know, after the advent of COVID, we've become far more accessible as lawyers. There's no such thing as going to see us during business hours. We will often have an online call at 9, 10 o'clock at night, very early in the morning. So you have to learn to say no sometimes.
Yeah.
To children and clients and friends, but you also have to find time to chill. And those frequent breaks and those morning walks are my way of countering that balance.
Sure. You've said two things that I are not synonymous with moms. Mom guilt, well, they are synonymous. Yeah. Mom guilt and saying no. Those are difficult.
Very, very difficult
They're
to learn
difficult.
how to do. And I was really, really bad at saying no.
Yeah.
Specifically to clients.
Yes.
Can you do a freebie? We've got another pro bono. This person really needs help. They can't afford lawyers. You know, as much as I spend many, many hours every year on pro bono work as well, I have had to learn that you can't save the whole world because, as I said to you, if I'm not okay, no one else is going to be okay.
So your mental health and your physical health, your well-being overall is more important to be able to carry that 100%. Balance. Sure. That is just so profound because a lot of us as women, especially single women, we tend to not find enough time for ourselves. And it's encouraging to hear that there is another woman that knows how to center her world first before you give to the rest of the world.
The time.
Create it.
Yeah.
Sure. That was powerful, even for me. Thank you. So what would you say being a single mom has really taught you, especially about becoming a lot more ambitious, and also the sacrifices that considering the sacrifices that you've had to make and allowing yourself to still pursue your life just beyond survival mode?
So, fortunately for me, I came from a challenging financial background as a child. So I think I've always been an assertive person and I was always ambitious. But then when you think you're marrying the love of your life, we often as women make the mistake to lose ourselves in them.
Yes.
And you think that you are still who you were when you met them. But then I one day woke up and I was alone. You know, he'd left with one of my so-called friends.
Sure.
And it was a startling reality for me that I had to find me again. Yeah. And luckily she was still there. But it's taught me that if I hadn't been financially independent, I would have been in deep trouble, as would my children, because I don't get maintenance for them. So it's taught me that I've got to be ambitious. I've got to keep, hustling. And that my job is really, really important. I have to take care of our financial well-being because otherwise everything else also falls apart.
Absolutely.
So work comes first. And I don't mean that my career is more important than my children, but the time that I spend, I can't feel guilty for that.
Okay.
At the beginning I did, but I had to learn not to, because if I don't do what I do, the little guy especially, is not going to have the lifestyle that he deserves, quite frankly.
But also, how do you manage basics?
Exactly. Yeah. Especially when you've got no one else to be reliant on.
Yeah.
But it's that defining moment when you just realize that you're on your own. Instead of allowing it to destroy me, I used it to motivate me.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not going to roll over and die. I know that, there are people that wish you would, but I wasn't going to. And it's really actually, I used it in a positive way instead of feeling sorry for myself. And it was tough. I mean, it was really tough at the beginning. But now I'm so proud of it, actually. And it served as well because I mentor a lot of the juniors at work as well. And it serves to motivate the women and even the men,
Absolutely.
they look at you, she lost 2 kids, she lost her husband, because 2 of my children had passed away in infancy.
Condolences.
So you instead of using those things that you go through to literally wallow in self-pity, you've got to use it instead to pick yourself up and motivate you to be better and to be there for the people that are still here.
Sure. That's a golden thread between the women that I'm speaking to, for Dress Hair and Dignity. It's just about taking your story and not looking at it in a negative light, but turning it into the positive, and it actually is what fuels your next. That is so
100%.
encouraging.
Everybody always says to us as women, how did you survive that?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we didn't. That person is gone. I'm a new me. And because you've got to become somebody else, and you have to make sure that that's a strong person. Because otherwise you serve no purpose to anybody around you.
Sure. So you talk about restoring your dignity in this whole process, and having your dignity restored from a practical sense. What does that look like? How does it include you? I mean, you just unpacked the income side of it and being financially savvy and what it means for you. But how do we slip in the tax? How do you get to understand your taxes? What does that mean for you? Especially because you said your husband is in Scotland.
My ex-husband.
Your ex-husband is in Scotland.
So he had, during the course of our relationship, he had completely assumed. It's a bit of a contradiction, but he had assumed financial control. He was doing all of my accounts. He was checking when money came in, checking when money went out, fighting with me if clients weren't paying as if it was my fault. And the one thing that I always refused to do was give him access to my personal bank, my business bank account. And I realized, and it became one of the reasons we were arguing all the time, to be honest, because he wanted full control.
Sure.
At that point, he'd become unemployed. He was no longer working. All of the financial pressure was on me. And ultimately, that led to the demise of our marriage. But I was humiliated when he left me for somebody else, especially because it was somebody that was in our space who I perceived as a friend. Whilst it was deeply humiliating, I was like, no. And I found the dignity again by assuming complete control once again. But the thing that saved me, and it's the one thing I can never stress enough to other women, don't let any man, because thank goodness I didn't give him full control, because I would have ended up on the streets. I really would have. Don't ever surrender your financial independence to any man. So gaining control of your finances and taking that back completely, I would now, looking back, not even have given him the slightest inkling into what I was even earning every month. That financial independence for a woman to retain her dignity and integrity, quite frankly, is really, really important. And we need to make sure that we're not reliant on anybody else. So that if someone walks out tomorrow,
that dependency,
you've got a backup. Don't let them be their source of your financial security. You've got to be in control as a woman. If we're able to buy a car or able to run a household and raise children, we should be able to run our financial affairs as well. We don't, you don't need somebody to take over that's going to remove your autonomy in that process.
Sure. I'm just thinking now, what are the 3 documents that you can encourage women to constantly have full control of, that has a direct impact to their financial decision making, and ultimately, having an impact on their financials? Because
there's many aspects and various documents that are very important.
In terms of your specific story, what would you say stood out the most that I needed? For an example, I needed to know, did you have documents from your marriage certificate? Did you know?
So you have to have all of those documents.
Yeah.
Your anti-nuptial contract
yes.
for the time that it may go wrong. And I'm not
Yes.
saying that it's always going to go wrong. Not everybody has bad luck. But you must never assume, as
Yeah.
I did, that it will never happen to you.
Yeah.
Because it's always the perfect Facebook families
Yeah.
that have the hardest falls, where people are surprised and shocked. And
Absolutely.
then they're not in a position to look after themselves.
Yeah.
Being who I am, I fortunately did. The only thing that I'd lost control over is that my ex-husband had taken all of my bank statements. And when I was trying to, go back and sort out my tax affairs, it became a nightmare because, financial institutions only keep your documents for so long.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he had seized control of those as part of the control mechanism. So we should always know where those documents are and keep them safe, where if we need access to them, we know that there's no one else that can control that.
Yeah.
But of course, there's always the issue of a will and testament.
Yes.
Women neglect that so badly.
Yeah.
And it's really critical. You need to know where your loved ones' wills and testaments are as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, all of your marriage certificates, your children's birth certificates.
Yeah.
And those must also be kept in safekeeping. And always, something that women I see take for granted, passports always need to be up to date. People think it's okay for the kids' passports to have expired, but you never know when it's going to become a critical moment that you need those.
You are speaking to me right now because my son's passport has expired.
Yeah. So
and I'm not doing anything about it. I'm like, I'll do it next time. I'll do it next time.
So you see, now I'm in that predicament because my son's passport is expiring in December, so he's only got like 4 months left, and you need 6 months left to travel.
Yeah.
And now we can't get his father to return to South Africa to renew it. So it's going to be a court exercise.
Oh, wow.
So when you've got someone available with you to go to Home Affairs, your spouse or your life partner, make sure it gets done while you're on good terms, because it becomes a nightmare when you're no longer speaking.
Not, yeah.
But those documents are important because now I can't go see his dad for Christmas. So, these things become, it's not what we expected our lives to be 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But things change. And with our international movements as women and men, it's critical that those basic documents, where they are and that they're all up to date.
Yeah. I love how you're still advocating for men.
Yes,
irrespective of the life experience that
Sure, there's many men that end up in the same position that I'm in. I've got plenty of friends and clients. I don't do an awful lot of family law. But I've got many male clients and friends who have ended up in the same position as me on the reverse.
Yeah.
I just happened to be, because I was the main breadwinner even during my marriage, I'm in this position. So that's why I advocate for them too. And they are a big part of the support of women.
Absolutely.
And I'm talking about obviously the good guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would want to ask then, what words of encouragement do you have for a single mother who's navigating life's challenges at the moment, and it's Women's Month now, something that they can do and take ownership of from their financials perspective this week? What financial or tax matter would you say every single woman needs to understand for herself right now, and what is it that they can take ownership of right now within this week?
So when my marriage ended, I woke up with 12 million rand debt that my ex had incurred, and it was all in my name because he was a British national. And I thought that I was just going to drop down dead and never recover. So what women need to take from that, it took me a number of years, but finally 3 years ago I woke up one day and that debt was gone.
Sure.
Women must control the debt and don't become downtrodden about it. Worrying about it at 3 o'clock in the morning doesn't pay the bills. Rather use that stress and manifest it as something positive in thinking about ways and means to generate sufficient income. Have that glass of wine, have that cry, lock the bedroom door and sob your heart out. But wake up the next day and girl, you got this, you know, just go do it. And make sure that, because the minute you're free of debt, you start to regain control of your financial freedom.
Absolutely.
And now that money, and now you go away for a weekend, you're not feeling guilty about it. You're not spending time with your children and worrying about how you're going to pay off that installment. So I think the first financial issue is to start chipping away at the debt and be debt free, because it does take away a lot of the added stress that us single moms do not need.
Do you do it alone? Because I mean, I'm a single mom. I'm already doing everything on my own.
All alone.
So do you do is it encouraged for you to handle your financials alone?
No, well, I mean, obviously I've got, you know, Jermaine and friends to assist me.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course, I've got a financial planner.
Yes.
I've realized that it's always going to only be me. So, you know, I've had to make arrangements for put away extra money, which I now, because I don't have debt, I can do. Put that away for a retirement.
Yeah.
Not that I'm ever going to retire, but you know, you've got to look after yourself. We're not going to stay young forever.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm 50 next year.
Looking stunning.
Oh,
Absolutely lovely.
I wish. But thank you for the compliment. But, you know, we've got to think about the fact that we're not going to be young forever. We kind of think as women that we're immortal, because you're spending so much time on it's school run and it's dinner time that you're not thinking about the fact that you're going to get older, that you're not going to feel the same. Emotionally, you're going to change. And 10 years from now, I'll still be working, but probably not at the same level or pace that I am now.
Yeah.
And we just need to really keep that in mind.
So from what I'm hearing, plan for those experiences that you don't even imagine you'll find yourself in.
No, you have to plan for the worst.
Plan for the worst.
Yeah.
All right. So what does belonging mean?
Belonging.
When you are the person responsible for building the home and earning the income and making the decisions. What does belonging mean for you as a woman this Women's Month?
Like this afternoon, it's still school holidays today for my little guy.
Yes.
I'm going to leave this meeting, and my middle son's also there because he's on a break from law school. And I know when I come in, they're going to be so happy to see me, even though I didn't leave that long ago. And that's part of belonging. And, you know, you don't need a better half. And I know that whenever I see my parents, they're so happy to see me. And my friends actually like me. They're forever inviting me places.
They like me. I like that.
So
my people.
And it's really nice to belong. And, you know, it's nice to go to work. And you see the youngsters, because we do a lot of work in the transformation space at work. And it's nice when you see that they're actually happy to see you. And that's belonging. People should be happy to see us and not think, oh, there comes that single chick again.
Yeah.
You know? So moaning about our woes, it's one thing to talk about our experiences, but it's another to just persistently complain and not be positive. So I love the fact that on the most part, I belong in the communities in which I serve.
I love that. I really love that. So there's a sense of purpose and also what you are doing. So within the communities that you serve, within your immediate network, even from a work front, what would you say to women who are silently going through what you have gone through?
Look, you know, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And not everybody is an extrovert. There's many aspects to me that are introvert too. And there were many times in the deepest, darkest moments, because I was going through this terrible, not just through the loss of the 2 infants, but through the loss of my husband. You know, divorce is a loss.
It's a loss, yeah.
There were times I was silent and you put on a brave face, but find someone to talk to. And if you feel from a financial perspective, there is always somebody that we know that will be able to give us advice on how to structure things, how to start getting out of debt. What do we do? Speak to the bank. Like, for instance, that's what I did. And I managed getting I sound like an advert now, but I actually managed to get this massive discounts on all of the debt that I owed, just because instead of putting my head in the sand like an ostrich, I actually started engaging with creditors, for instance. There's always someone that you can talk to. So that financial, it's like a noose around your neck.
Yeah.
Find somebody in your family or your friendship circle that has some financial experience.
Yeah.
Lawyers are terrible with math. And that's what I did. I reached out for advice. So you can be silent and you can suffer in silence. That's okay. But then go at least find a friend to talk to about the emotional gravity of what you're going through. And find somebody to guide you or advise you from a financial perspective.
Love that. So I know right now, as we're speaking, there is a single mother that is probably feeling like she's falling short. As we all do. Because she cannot be fully present. She can't be everywhere where her heart desires
100%.
to be. And we tend to want to, single moms, we tend to want to split ourselves and be in every space at the same time.
And we can't be.
And we cannot be.
No.
So what words of encouragement do you have for this single mom?
You know, it's missing a morning assembly on a Tuesday because schools often forget that single moms work, or B, don't have someone to stand in. You know, I've got friends who don't have grandparents to step in when neither parents is available. They'll keep the kids from school that day just to avoid the crushing heartbreak of not having somebody there.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's so many of those scenarios, and it does. I mean, you feel guilty.
Yeah.
But we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And our children we think that they're not as resilient as they are. We think that they don't see, but they do.
Yes.
And they know that as much as they wish that we were there more, they know why we're not. And they realize, keep encouraging them and reminding them, not in a guilt-ridden way.
Yeah.
You know, it's because of you that and say, babe, I do this for you willingly and gladly.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry that I can't be there. Our kids do understand.
Yeah.
And we don't have a choice. And we've got to keep fighting the big fight because, again, if we're not taking care of the financial side of things as single mothers, and we don't have the financial independence, what are we able to give our kids?
Sure.
It's critical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, in closing.
In
closing, we are doing this for the Dress Her in Dignity campaign. And I just want to ask, a woman is dressed in dignity when she, please complete the sentence.
An easy one, has financial independence and an ability to earn her own income.
Short, simple, precise.
Yeah, well, it's a fact of life.
Oh,
Thank you so much for having me. It's been absolutely lovely.
Oh, this is like, I must put this down. This is so lovely. Thank you so much, Gillian. This is Gillian Benson, Advocate Gillian Benson. We are so thrilled to have her join the conversation here with us. Please, whenever we call on you.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Just not 2:00 in the morning.
Because
you committed a crime.